Welcome back to the next chapter on how to replace artificial colors in food and drinks. This time we will be approaching ice cream and frozen novelties. The perfect canvas for color design, mild to cool thermal processing, a white or very light matrix, and a low water activity. In general, it is a very gentle setting for the use of natural colors in replacement of artificials. As usual, we'll navigate the technical factors that help us pick the best natural pigments to replace artificial colors. Then we will see some beautiful examples of how natural colors are used in ice creams, sorbets, and ice pops to match or present options for alternatives to artificial dyes. And then we will finish with a practical guide to approach any artificial colors substitution project in this indulgent category. Let's first take a look at how processing and ingredients have an influence on the decision making for the replacement of artificial colors in ice creams and frozen treats. As with any other food matrix, there are several factors that can influence how natural colors perform in ice creams and water ices, such as the base ingredients, the fat content, the type of heat treatment to which the base is subjected before churning, the overrun achieved, how the ice crystals grow and get stabilized during the freezing stages, the pH of the overall recipe, the light exposure, the color dosage rate, and the flavor expectations. The biggest factor to consider is probably the base ingredient of an ice cream, which could be dairy, plant-based proteins, cereals, fruit juices, etc., which will impact the color result in ice creams and frozen goods. The color of these base ingredients can darken or shift the hue even when the same color is being used at the same usage rate. In the photo shown here for each set, the ice cream at the left has milk as its main ingredient, the one at the middle is almond base, that is slightly grayish, and the ice cream in the right side used oat milk, which has a browner base color. These slight differences of cast change the perception of the resulting color. It is an important factor to consider because even if these base effects are also seen when using artificial colors, we really must make sure to try our natural colors in the actual commercial base when approaching a matching project. The additive effects of main colors plus undertones may signify that your replacement for, let's say, red 40 in a dairy base won't be as good for an almond-based ice cream. The fat content of the frozen dessert also plays a factor in the final visible results. Scattering of light by fat globules provides a white reflecting surface, making the color appear lighter. A high fat content ice cream may require a higher dose of color, something to keep in mind since natural colors already require a higher usage rate when compared to artificials. Both hydrogenated vegetable fats and dairy cream provide this white reflecting surface, which favors color sharpness and even compensates a little for deviations due to the intrinsic color of the base. Likewise, as the ice cream mix gets frozen, ice crystals form, changing the way the light is scattered and reflected. The smaller the ice crystals, the more the light gets scattered, which is perceived as a more pastel color. Ice crystal size is controlled by factors like freezing rate and temperature, concentration of sugars and other solids, added stabilizers, and storage temperatures and their fluctuations. All of these processing parameters must be accounted for or replicated when substituting artificial colors by natural alternatives to ensure consistent results. Overrun also plays a factor in the color's overall performance in frozen desserts. Aeration has two effects on ice cream color. First, by increasing the total volume, it dilutes the effective volumetric pigment dose, making it appear more pastel. Second, the tiny air bubbles trapped in the matrix reflect more light, which makes the color appear sharper and brighter. Understanding the thermal processing applied to the ice cream base will allow us to select the best natural option to replace artificial colors. Depending on the food safety risk assessment, manufacturers could choose a mild heat treatment like HTST or a more intense process like UHT. Natural colors may experience fading depending on the extremity of the heat exposure. In the picture shown on the screen, you can see the effect of UHT versus HTST processing on red beet colored bases, which is one of the worst case scenarios, as beet is one of the most heat-sensitive natural colors. Brief pasteurizations work well in this system and in most natural color applications, especially considering that the remaining processing stages are done at a very low temperature. But if more severe heat treatments are necessary, manufacturers could opt for colors that are more heat stable or add the sensitive colors just after pasteurizing and before the freezing stage. There is also something else to consider when dealing with heat treatments, and that is the induction of Maillard and caramelization reactions in the base due to intense heat exposure, like in UHT treatments of sugar and protein-rich bases. This could influence our color choice as we may want to mask that browning to achieve a closer match to a certain blend or single artificial color. Certain natural colors like turmeric, shown here, are light sensitive and show degradation if exposed to natural or man-made lighting when wrapped in clear packaging or when they are exhibited in display freezers like in ice cream parlors. Turmeric is a very close match to FD&C Yellow 5 both in shade and vibrancy. It will be the perfect substitute when the ice cream or ice pop is packed in opaque wrapping or tubes. If this is not the case, more light stable yellow options are possible, like safflower concentrate where permitted, or beta-carotene emulsions, which is more widely accepted. Now, let's consider the pH of the matrix. Some natural colors shift their hue when the pH changes, like what happens to red number 3, whose characteristic pink is present only at pH levels above 4.5. As you can see on the screen, that pink gets orangey and paler as we go towards more acidic applications. What could we use to get natural pink colors in our ice creams? Natural sources like anthocyanins are generally recommended as sources of reds or pinks for acidic water ices, sorbets, or frozen yogurt. But they turn purple, then violet, and sometimes blue as the ice cream mix approaches neutrality, becoming less and less stable. Their use in neutral pH dairy like ice creams to get purple hues requires adjusting the usage rate and adding the color just before the freezing stage to limit the degradation. Other pink and red options for neutral pH are carmine, when no vegetarian or kosher claims are intended, or beetroot red that can also be consistently used in acidic sorbets, sherbets, and pop ices. Therefore, we need to keep in mind the target application's pH and that of any other product in your portfolio that uses the same artificial color. Colors can provide variations in flavor identity. The selection of the right color can hint congruency for flavors like pineapple, limoncello, clementine, or orange, just like the sorbets we see on the screen. The flavor perception induced will be far more naturalistic because the pigments used are the same or very similar to those that normal fruits and vegetables have in nature. Flavor perception will be then complemented by wholesomeness perception. Colors can also convey a notion of taste, like tart versus sweet, and variation on usage rates of the same color also alters the perception of intensity, or can signal for completely different identities, like the annatto sample shown on the right, where one can represent a French vanilla color, while the other could perfectly cue for mango. This exemplifies the concept that we saw in our general introduction to artificials replacement. Natural colors can become a new simplified color palette as they can be combined to deliver unique shades and establish brand identity, while optimizing inventories. Now, let's see some of the natural options you may use to replace artificial colors, as they are applied in ice cream, sorbets, and ice pop. The most popular flavors in the ice cream and sorbets space in the US are chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry, very traditional and familiar profiles. But there are emerging trends among consumers preferring a variety of colorful flavors like mint, mango, or blackberry, which allows for a more creative approach to visual sensory design. According to our proprietary Food and Beverage Colors Report from 2026, 63% of USA consumers prefer natural colors over artificials in this food category, and 25% only want natural colors. There is a huge incentive for conversion to natural color sources that pair with traditional and emerging ice cream flavors. Being that strawberry and berries in general are popular refreshing flavors in this space, let's see what we have in terms of reds and pinks. The typical creamy strawberry profile of Red 40 can be achieved through blends of natural red colors like beetroot red and a small amount of an orange or warm yellow color, like annatto. Both colors are apt for the neutral pH of dairy or creamy bases and are kosher certifiable. On the other hand, for sorbets and ice pops which have a lower pH, the options include anthocyanin sources of a neutral cast like red radish, amaze red, or amaze orange red, which has no impact over flavor and aroma. Fruity flavored water ices can also use other blends of anthocyanin-based juices, like our Vegebrite Strawberry Red. In some strawberry profiles, a more pinkish hue is preferred, like the one provided by red number 3 or erythrosine. We can get a very similar shade with low doses of carmine applied in dairy bases, provided that no kosher or vegetarian claims are made. Red beet is also suitable for lovely, creamy pinks and has generally a friendlier label. As mentioned in our explanation about pH effects on color, Red 3 is generally recommended for applications at pH levels above 4.5, as it gets an odd orangey cast in acidic applications like in fruity, water-based ices. But colors like purple sweet potato, red cabbage, or carmine could be used in sorbets and ice pops to get fantastic pink to fuchsia shades. Carmine can also be used with caution in ice pops and sorbets because it tends to break down into carminic acid in liquid systems with time becoming orange. But carmine and its blends can be used as reds and pinks if the water activity is low, like in sugar bases of sorbets and pop ices. And if the freezing process is fast, because these conditions will stop the breakdown process. Orange colors are also fun and exciting profiles that match with refreshing citrus and tropical flavors in frozen treats. Sunset Yellow, or FD&C Yellow No. 6, is the most straightforward artificial choice for orange profiles. Carotenoid emulsions like MCL paprika and carrot juice concentrates, like Vegebrite orange carrot, are good options to match it. As we saw before, it is important to adjust the rate of color according to the desired overrun and fat content to get a precise intensity match. The low pH of sorbets and ice pops also permits the use of the wide range of carotenoid emulsions like our MCL paprika or MCL beta-carotene, as well as a friendly labeled Vegebrite orange carrot, that is a concentrated vegetable juice. Our acid-proof annatto formula can be used too, and it features a very sharp glowing cast as seen here. If the cost and intended labeling allows it, carminic acid also offers a very close shade to yellow No. 6. Let's continue with bright yellow colors. The lemony yellow of tartrazine, or FD&C Yellow No. 5, can be closely matched with the use of curcumin or turmeric only if the ice cream is not exhibited in display freezers, like it often does in scoop shops. Safflower concentrates, on the other hand, like Vegebrite Lemon Yellow, are good alternatives when light stability is required, only in markets where this coloring ingredient is permitted. Vegebrite Golden Yellow, another formulation of carrot juice concentrate, is an acceptable alternative for a slightly warmer shade of yellow that is super attractive for flavors like French vanilla. The low pH levels of sorbets is not a limitation for the use of curcumin extracts. Also, our Vegebrite Lemon Yellow, a non-selectively extracted safflower concentrate, is an option with better light stability than curcumin and has a friendly label for markets where it is permitted. Blends of yellow 5 and 6 are used to get creamy custard and French vanilla hues and can be replaced by carotenoid emulsions, like MCL beta-carotene or MCL lutein, or by carotene-rich carrot juice concentrates, like Vegebrite Golden Yellow, that we mentioned earlier. Blends of curcumin and annatto are also good options that require ratio and usage rate adjustments to get close matches. This can become an excellent and flexible tool for the design of infinite shades of yellow. Carotenoid emulsions of our MCL line, or carrot juice concentrates like Vegebrite Golden Yellow, are apt for low pH sorbets and water ices where blends of the artificial yellows have been used. Acid-proof annatto is also recommended in this type of application, and the dosage can be adjusted to get a variety of intermediate yellow colors. Mint, matcha, and pistachio flavors are gaining momentum, as well as an infinite range of fresh, fruity, and citrusy green profiles for ice creams and water ices. We have several standard formulas of green blends that could match combinations of artificial yellow No. 5 and blue No. 1 that are usually employed to get greens. Blends of natural yellow sources like curcumin, safflower, where permitted, or beta-carotene with spirulina as the blue source can also provide flexibility for a variety of green shades. Spirulina's poor acid stability makes it not that ideal for low pH liquid systems, but green blends comprised of this natural blue color and a source of yellow can be used in water ices and sorbets due to their low water activity and low processing and storage temperatures. Galderia extract, of course, can also be blended with any yellow color for a carefree application in sour ice pops and sorbets. Greens made with acid-stable copper chlorophyllin, where it is permitted, can also be used on their own, or with sources of yellow to get the exact shade you want. Blue colors are becoming viral in frozen treats aimed towards the younger generations, and for flavors like Blue Moon. Phycocyanin-based natural blues like Avizor, Spirulina, and Galderia extracts are suitable options to replace Blue No. 1 in ice creams. While the shade of Blue No. 1 tends to get more like a turquoise shade in this application, our natural solutions are excellent options for true blues that appeal to the preference of consumers for a whimsical, creamy, dreamy frozen treat. The rapid cooling and low water activity of frozen desserts permits the use of spirulina as a replacement for Blue 1 in acidic water ices and sorbets. But if the liquid pre-mix has a lengthy standing period in the mixing tank before freezing, The exposition to acids could be too harsh for spirulina, and in that case, Galderia extract would be the best option for ice pops and sorbets with acidic flavors like blue raspberry. A non-acidic sorbet, like for instance a fresh mint-flavored one, could use any of these phycocyanin sources. Another trendy color for ice creams and frozen treats are feisty purples, be it for trending ube or taro, traditional black raspberry or grape profiles, or for more daring fantasy flavors like the ever-present mermaid style. Purple blends of artificial colors could be replaced in ice cream with the use of selected anthocyanins, provided that we ensure a speedy freezing process and high color doses, because, as told before, anthocyanins are not very stable at neutral pH levels. Another option to create purple blends considers using B as the source of pink combined with phycocyanins, from spirulina or Galderia as sources of blue. The slightly bluish shade of pink from beta-cyanins allows for sharper purples that really transports us to fantastic flavored realms. We can get refreshing purplish magenta hues for berry-flavored sorbets and water ices with the use of bluish anthocyanins like Vegebrite forest fruit or with grape skin extract if this color is permitted for frozen treats in the target market. The same anthocyanin sources with berry-like shades can be used in water ices. If the target color is ever more bluish, Eversor Galderia extract can be added to complement the red or pink source, which in the case shown here is beetroot, that as we have seen is apt for the whole pH range of frozen desserts. Brown colors that sometimes are made with blends of artificial blues, yellows, and reds can be replaced by caramel colors, which are heat stable, permitting intense pasteurizations and exposition to light. Brown colors are used to standardize and highlight flavors like chocolate, mocha, caramel, or coffee. Our options include Class 4 or Class D caramel colors that will deliver a dark grayish brown color, or Class 1 or Class A caramel colors that can range from golden to reddish brown in hue. Being a single color, caramel does not suffer any change during shelf life or any color bleeding when the frozen treat is melting during consumption. Noticeable sometimes in paper napkins or between color layers when blends of artificial colors are used because of their different solubilities and chemical affinities. To wrap it up, here are the biggest factors to consider when trying to replace artificial colors in frozen desserts. Consider how the ice cream base may have an impact on the selection of the ideal natural pigment and its usage rate. Here we can mention the base color, the fat content, the freezing conditions and recipe formulation that affect crystal size, and the overrun. Also consider that blends of natural sources may be necessary to get a perfect match to an artificial straight color, but at the same time, it is also possible that a single natural color could replace one or several blends of artificial colors. Usage rate of natural colors will be considerably larger to what you are used to when dealing with artificial colors, but these dosages are within the reasonable range of other food additives, and the impact on costs and final prices shouldn't be that impactful, considering the benefits you'll receive with a friendlier label that wins the confidence of consumers. As with any food application, there are optimal moments for the addition of natural colors to ice cream and ice pop bases, and these may depend on the precise characters of both your process and the pigment nature and stability. A close and open conversation with our color scientists will help us better guide you on this endeavor. Whether your ice creams and frozen novelties are protected from light with opaque wrappings or tubs, or alternatively exposed in ice cream parlors, there are technical alternatives that our experts would love to discuss with you. Thank you for joining us on today's talk. We hope you have enjoyed our journey through the delightful world of cool and satisfactory ice creams and frozen desserts that become even more appealing with the use of natural colors. Thank you very much, and until the next time.